Okay, so for the Howland mission statement, like what the goal of the mission organization is, I've been thinking about it, I've been praying about it, trying to figure out what role the organization is going to fill, because I never really narrowed down thinking about specifically like where we would be missionaries to or what specifically it was going to be doing, because partly I wanted to see what God wanted and not just make my own plan, but also I wasn't sure because um, international missions sounded cool, so did missions in the States, all kinds of stuff. And what I've been realizing kind of dawned on me today, um, and I think I'm going to set this as the mission statement per se, or like the overall goal of Howland. Um, and what about to say, I'm not claiming that Howland is some prophetic organization or that um, what this verse is talking about is specifically Howland, but I think that this verse kind of embodies what my goal is and what the goal of Howland is and kind of has been. So let's get straight into it. So Matthew chapter 24, I believe it's verse 14, says that, "And the gospel of the kingdom will be preached to all the ends of the earth and to every nation, and then the end will come." Um, and I think that that is going to be the mission statement for Howland, because um, there's definitely uncertain times right now. And like I've discussed in my last video, um, I talked about timing a bit, and I don't have much time for this video, but basically, if the Lord is coming back very soon, like in a matter of just a couple years or less, then Howland will be focused on just spreading the gospel as much as we can. If we have time, on the other hand, if it's maybe 30, 40 years, that's just a generalization. If we have time to do more, I think it'd be really cool to have my family farm out in eastern Washington, where I am right now. Not at the farm right now, but the family farm would be the headquarters, and it would be where we would print Bibles, tracts, literature, and train people to go out. And then they would go out all over America by land, and North and South America can be reached by land. And then we will have a Navy. Oh, that's cool. Sorry. Interrupt a little bit. Speaking of militaries, there's two old military planes type style going over. Sorry for that interruption, but so with the farm as the headquarters, then we can send people out over land to North and South America. And of course, online, there's a lot to be done online-wise, spreading the gospel. And then we'll have a navy of coastal and international capable boats, namely sailboats, because then they're self-reliant. We'll have sailboats that will sail around the world spreading the gospel. And the goal is to grow this. My kind of personal goal has always been, I've always thought it would be cool to spread the gospel to every nation. And I'm very much a logistics person. I like thinking through logistics, and it's been hard for me not knowing exactly what Howland is going to do, because I like to plan the specifics of logistics, what's going to happen, moving assets around, that kind of thing. I really like that kind of planning. And I think that this will be a lot of fun for me planning that. Whether this happens or not, I think that if that's God's will, that we're able to do this or partially do this plan, that will be amazing and a lot of fun and very rewarding. And of course, if we can't, then that's His will, and we'll figure out what to do. But I think I feel like this should be the directive for Howland, is to take the gospel to every nation. And we will have cars and vehicles sent out from the farm to all around North and South America. And the people will the staff and workers and missionaries will all live at the farm um, as free housing, food, everything included, and a small salary for some of the paid staff. Um, but the reason we're not doing a huge salary for people is partially because we're going to cover almost all of their living costs, which is basically most of their salary right there. But also, we don't have the money wise. We have the time, the people, and the land, the housing, but we don't have the money to support a bunch of large salary workers. And so that's the reason for small salaries, but a bunch of bonuses and stuff. And it's a really cool farm, and it's strategically located where you can get almost anywhere easily. You can get on highways almost anywhere in North America from there. And the farm is right nearby a private airport where we could possibly get a few small airplanes that would be going overseas or just to South America and to the islands to spread the gospel. And then the farm also, unfortunately, is a 7-hour drive with traffic over to where our quote-unquote Navy base would be, where we'd store our boats in Puget Sound. However, I'm going to try to push forward with a place called Rimrock Meadows, and it will be a small set of cabins and garages, basically a stopover place, just outside of Wenatchee, Washington. That will be a halfway stop if anyone going back and forth or delivering stuff wants to stop halfway, and there will be small cabins that people can stay in for a night or two on the way back and forth. That will make the drive less problematic. And then we will also, of course, have places to stay. We don't know where we're going to keep the boats yet, but that will be open, and we'll let God guide us to where He wants us to keep boats. And already we have the Darjo, a 33-foot wooden boat, Melody, a 33-foot sport fisher, and quite a few other smaller boats that can be part of the fleet. And we're also planning on refitting and or building 3 other, a 25, a 30, and an 18-footer, as well as a 14 and an 8-foot boat. Those are all planned to add to the fleet. And then eventually we'll start looking at some longer range sailboats that can get Bibles, tracts, preachers, and missionaries, and relief supplies to anywhere in the world. So yeah, I think definitely anyone who's watching this, I would ask that you pray about getting involved. This would be kind of interrupting most people's plans for their lives, but I think this is an important mission to spread the gospel, and we are clearly running out of time. How much time we have could be 100 years, could be 1 year, could be tomorrow. But it's definitely, there's an urgency to it, because there are many people who die every single day with not knowing Christ, and that's not a reason to send untrained people out. They need to be trained. That's part of what we'll do. We'll have a training school for missionaries that will be free for anyone who wants to come and train to be a missionary at the farm. The farm has logging, and it has possibility for hay and cattle as 3 different sources of income, as well as, of course, any missionaries and donations who want to support the company. I know I will be working at least a part-time job and it'll be almost all going towards the mission organization. So, yeah, I guess as far as timing, Lord willing, we have enough time for this. As far as timing, I graduate high school in 2025, and by the year 2030, we hope to have the farm and Rimrock Meadows by then, as well as a place to store the boats. So we will be fully underway by 2030, assuming all goes according to plan. And I will be starting the mission organization. I've already got it started. I have some of the papers, documents, and stuff. and some of the nonprofit type stuff lined up. But we don't have any staff other than me yet. And right now it's kind of just a group of us who are on and off spreading the gospel, putting out gospel tracts like these that I have in my pocket. They're, in my opinion, a great way to reach people. And so I think that we could be underway by about 2026, 2025 timeframe. We can be fully underway and setting up a headquarters, temporary headquarters. My parents, of course, have our house in Tukwila, Washington, and my dad's looking at getting a second place of residence to live at. And so we would buy a property and start building a homestead there, and my parents would eventually move over there. And then we've talked about then once they've moved out, we would keep our house in Tukwila and set that up as a temporary mission headquarters around the time that I'm 19 or 2026. So a lot of ideas. Keep spreading the gospel and following God. And I just wanted to put this out there as the mission statement for Howland, to spread the gospel to every nation, and also prepare people to for when Christ returns.